Okay, we have here a Kromer Protector. This is a BP55K model variant, one of the newer ones. And we're going to start by opening the curtains. There are two curtains. There's one at position 7, which I just rotated about halfway. And there's another at position 12, which I just rotated, also about halfway. I'm going to put this tension wrench in here to apply some downward pressure. And use a wire attached to this adapter, which is glued to the post in the lock to rotate. And with that, we can get going. So click on 4 on the left. So click on 10. Click on 9, or rather just movement on 9. It's not cleanly set. Reaching down to 1 and 3, neither are binding, but 2 is. So click on 2. Now 3 is binding. Click on 3. Okay. I'm going to go to the other side. This is the first phase of picking this lock, where really I'm just trying to work my way up to 11 so I can close one of these curtains. There's just no room to work otherwise. So now I'm starting from the bottom on the right side. It's 1. Working on 2 now. Requires a few pushes. I'm really not setting these as much as I'm just getting them out of the way, getting some room. 3 is a little hard. There's a little tab here. So little room. I'm trying to get it at an angle. Okay, it's a little movement. And with a little movement, it's a little easier to grab the tab. It should be easier to grab the tab. Okay. There we go. 4 doesn't bind on this side, so 5 again requires a few attempts to push away. Okay. 6 in contrast, very easy to get to. That's it. Now I'm going to go up to, because 7's the curtains, so 8 and 9 are up here. Okay, that's 9. Okay, click on 9. A little bit of a push on 8. And that leaves 10. Because 11 binds on the other side, and 12 is the curtain. Okay. 10, there's a little bit of a click there, which is progress, but I expect 10 will drop momentarily because I need to go back to the left side now, and with very little room, I'm going to work my way from the bottom from 1. Yeah, here, that was 10 dropping. There's 1, there's 3. Okay, I'm trying to get the 5. There's 5. Now I can move 5. I couldn't before because you need to work the right side. That's 5. And then I'm sure some of these reset. Let's go to, what is that, 9? Yep, pushing 9 in a little bit. 10 probably reset as well. Yep. Another click on 10. Now, if all went well, I should now finally be able to move 11. Past the curtain. So I think that worked. We can finally close the curtain, or at least the top one. The bottom one, unfortunately, I need to keep open. I'm just going to close it a little just to try to get a little more space. It's about as much as I'll risk. And now we can move on to phase 2. Let's take a little bit of a break. So for phase 2, I'm going to try to get all the wafers in the right place, and since the feedback is so difficult, I'm going to rely on a few wafers to tell me what the lock is doing. Specifically, wafers 1 and 3 on the left are going to kind of gradually move in, and 10 on the right usually sets like you saw it before, but it will tend to pop out, but less and less so as we progress. So we're going to work both sides. I'll start on the left all the way at the back. There's 1, springy. 3, pushed in, not much resistance, no binding. We got plenty of work to do. That's what that's telling us. So I'll try 2. 2 is fine. I'm going to try 4. Potentially 4 could have reset. So maybe not. 4 actually seems okay. Back to 1 and 3. A little bit of a push on 3. Okay, 5. 5 definitely reset. And that's a sign that something else isn't really working here. So I'm guessing it's at the front of the lock. Yep. 9. 11's fine. And 10 might need another push. Hard to tell. Terrible feedback. But let's check 1 and 3. 1's still springy. Okay, real good click on 3. So progress. Now we're not all the way there yet. 3 is closing in, but there's more to go. I think I'm going to do that one more time just to see if we can't get a little bit more movement. So 1, 3, 2. Just triple check 4. Yep. That's 1, 3. Okay, 5 is still not set. 5 keeps on popping up. And 9 popped out. No improvement on 1 or 3. So that tells me you should probably switch to the other side. Now, a lot of work to do here, but we have the room now. we'll start from the back. And I'm going to push more aggressively because we should be more matched on the left side. Okay, so there's one, just a tiny movement, if any. Okay, 2 definitely was out of place. Big move on 2. Big move on 3. A little bit of a move on 5. Very subtle on 6. Big click on, what is that, 9? Yeah, 9. Big movement on 8. Okay, clearly the right side was holding us back. And we should check 10 before we go. Yep, that was kind of a click that we're going in the right direction, but we're nowhere near where we need to be. But maybe that helped with our problem on the left side. So back to the bottom on the left. 1 is springy. That was 10 resetting. We'll push on 3. Our 5 is popping out. Pushed it back. Gonna check 4 again. Needs to be some good explanation for why 5 won't stay put. No, 4 really is there. It's not 4. Alright, and then we have 9. Definitely movement on 9. 11. 10, a little bit of a push. Oh, what am I doing with that pick? I'm going to go back here. Not much better. Just going to go one at a time. Okay. So that was just putting pressure on 4. And 3 and 5 did not change. 9. A little bit of a push on 9. Again, no change in 3 or 5. 11. Didn't even feel any movement. And indeed, 3 and 5 are in the same place. And finally, 10. All right, well, things have at least settled. In that last pass, 5 didn't reset. So we'll go back to the right side. Starting at the back. Number 1. Feels pretty good. Oops. Dropped the pink. Okay, 2. The tiniest movement on 2. Tiny movement on 3. Tiny movement on 5. Difficult to get on 6. Why is that? Oh, there we go, just the angle. Okay, 6 seems pretty good. And there are some interesting things going on here in the front. Okay, that's a click on 9. Movement on 8. Real progress. All right. That was a much more solid push to set 10. I don't know if we're at the end of phase 2 yet, but that's very promising. Let's keep on it and see if we can't get 1 and 3 in an even better place, and see if we can get 10 on the right to stay. I mean, already I feel a lot less movement, like 1 feels good. Three feels good. Two feels good. I'll just check 4 for completeness, but yeah. Usually if those guys are in such a good place, 4 is fine. There's 1. There's 3. Finally, 5 staying in place. Good sign. Good sign. Okay, that's 9. That's pretty good. I'm going to go to 11. Feels good. Trying to get on 10. A little bit difficult to find placement here with the right side fully extended. Hold on. Was that it? That might be it. In any event, left side feels really good, and I don't think I dropped 10. I'm going to test it right now. Okay, it just came out the slightest bit. And actually, I wonder if that is why I couldn't really get a read on 10 in this direction. Let me try again. Indeed. Now I'm clearly on 10, and it feels good in that direction. Okay. All right, and then back on 10 on the right. Okay. So, 1 and 3 on the left are good. The 10 on the right is not staying completely in place, but it's only slightly popping out. So that means I'm comfortable going to go on to phase 3. This is where we'll actually try to open the lock. This is the hardest part. And to do that, I'm going to reverse what I've been doing. I'm going to go from the top down, and I'm going to more lightly nudge, because any gentle movement can throw things out of whack. So I want to keep listening to 10 and 1 and 3, and then we'll just patiently see if we can massage things into place. And that's 10. Oh, you know what? We have another problem. The curtain has opened too far. I'm going to push it back. Well, hopefully that didn't push it too far. Whew, that was close. That would have been lame to have lost this attempt because of that curtain. Okay, so curtain is set well. I don't need this one though. Okay, but let's start over, meaning start from 10. Yeah, 10 just popped out a little bit, as it likes to do. Now it's back. Okay. Nine is good. 8 is not good, but that's not surprising because of the curtain. Probably dragged 8 and 6 along with it. Not the worst thing. Let's go to 6. Okay. Now I'm going to go to 5. Nice, click on 5. That was good. That brings me to what, 3? good. There's 2. That's good. And 1. Right side's pretty solid, I must say. Just going to check in on 10, see if there's anything else to tell us. A little hard getting a hold of 10, it's so far in. Okay. It's pretty solid in there. All right, so I'm going to do top to bottom this time on the left. So that's 11. Click on 11. Delicately move around 10 in the other direction to get to 9. Feels good. Okay, 10 on the left. Terrible feedback, really hard to tell what that did, but felt a little bit of movement. And this is really difficult, little room. Going all the way bottom, 1. Three. Okay, there we go. 5 was not properly set. That's interesting. Came out a little. Because of that, I'm going to check 4. Four is good. I even knocked hard into 10 and it still stayed. It's a good sign. And 2 is good. Okay. Right side. Slight movement on 10. Slight movement on 8. Nine is good. 6 is good. Be careful with 5 because 5 on the other side came out. But no, I don't feel anything there. was 3, 2, 1. Back to 10. So close. All right. Need to keep up with the patience. And I think I'm just going to have to stay on 10 because any movement can really reset it. So I'm going to go back to the left. I'll start with 11. We're open. And that's it right there. Okay. So, ooh, that's a long video. Well, unfortunately, it's going to continue to be long because I have a lot more to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unfocus here. I'm going to zoom out a little. And I think I have enough battery. I'm going to, oh, no, that's dangerous. Here, zoom out more. There we go. Unplugged. And I'm going to want to move the camera over so that I can capture this a little bit better. So let me make some space, get the tools out of the way. And you know what? Can I do the vise first? That's a better idea, right? Okay, I will undo this. Put the lock down and remove the vise. Get that out of the way. Okay. Here's the tricky part. I'm going to lift up the camera. There we go. Zoom out. Let me just get a stand here. That'll make things a lot easier. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Okay, and I'll just get a well, before I go too far, I should show you clearly that this is opening, and you can see that the actuator is moving at the back. Okay, so lock is definitely open. And I've got a gutting tray to help us out here. Okay, I've got the key, which hopefully we'll get to. Put that aside for now. Okay. And once more with the, keep everything in frame. And just adjust the light so we can see a little better what's going on here. All right. Well, let's start gutting this lock. I'll take my wire out. I will, I'll keep it open actually. You see there are 3 screws here. I'm gonna loosen. And then we'll take the top off. And there's a little spring here that I'll take out. And just, well, first we can see that the lock is clearly unlocked. And I'll just move it back into place here to lock it up. Now it's locked back up. See, there's the curtain, and I'll just reset. There's a curtain. I don't know if you can see it there, but now the curtains are reset. And I'll also take these blinders out. There are two blinders on either side that hide the wafers. And let me just point out a few things. First of all, the serial number is everywhere. You can see this 490762 and is replicated here in two places and also even in the key. Okay. So let's start taking out one by one. First we have wafer 12, which is one of the curtains. See, it's stamped 12. And there are two features here that are interesting. One is this little notch, and the other is this leaf spring. So the leaf spring, you can see, actually locks with, here I'll pull out wafer 11 here. You can see wafer 11 doesn't say 11, but it's stamped with the last 3 digits of the serial number. And you can see that the leaf spring here interacts with this divot, preventing 11 from moving unless 12 is rotated. And this little tab here interacts with this indentation, so you actually need to first slide 11 a little to unlock so you can rotate 12, and now you can more fully manipulate 11. And that's what we did there. In any event, there's 12, nothing really interesting on the, well, except for the spring in the back. 11. And you can see I used 2 different picks here. And for 11, I used the Moki pick to just really get in there and be able to lever like that. Okay. Next we have the 2 parts of wafer 10. Okay, they work together in either direction, bind on both sides, and you can see how tricky this lock is. You can see how they interact with each other as they move. So we'll just take those out. This is the right one. And, you know, for levers like this, I was using the lifter pick and this notch here to grab this nice little scalloped area. It's pretty convenient for that. There's 10. Nothing interesting on the back, really. And here's the left side of 10. Okay. This one I also use the lifter pick to grab right here on that side. Okay, then we have 9. And 9 again comes in 2 pieces. They're coupled together. Okay, here's the left one. Binds on the left. Now, it's interesting. You can see how there's not a scalloped edge. There's a flat one. And that's where this pick really helps, because you can get in there, trace the inside surface, and just get nice leverage pointed in the right direction. Okay, here's the back. And this is the right side of 9. You know, this one has a scalloped area, so you can just kind of get in there. Although actually, I think because the lifter pick is a little broad at the end, it can interact with some of the adjacent wafers. So because this lever goes so deep, I actually think I use this pick to be able to push and not, and isolate it better. There's the back. Okay, then we have wafer 8, and now we're entering the territory of the other curtain. And so 8 only binds on the right. Okay. And again, I was using this to kind of scoop in there. But the back of 8 is interesting, because the back of 8 has 2 features. One is this tab, and the other is this divot. And so similar to what you saw with 12 and 11, that interacts with 7, which is the other curtain. And 7 has springs in both directions, and it has this notch here. And so the notch on the back of 8 means that you have to first push 8 a little to unlock 7, rotate 7, and then that'll prevent 7 from blocking both 8 and 6. All right? And that's where 8 gets blocked right there. Oh, and I should probably show you this so you can see that it's clearly sticking out and grabbing both sides. Okay, so 6 also binds only in one direction. It only binds in the right. And there you see, and this one was actually real easy to grab. Because it comes in so tight here, I was able to get that little notch there and get it without interfering with anything else. So that was a little bit of a relief. But there's the divot on 6 where the curtain 7 locks it up. And the back of 6 isn't that interesting. Okay, next up is 5. 5 is a rough one. Let me try to describe that. So it's in 2 pieces. This is the part that binds on the left. And there, I was just grabbing this obvious tab right here to manipulate. And there's nothing really interesting on the back. And here's the piece of 5 that binds on the right. Again, pretty easy to grab this one. And also not much in the back. But the reason this is so tricky is how asymmetrical these fit in. And so when they're not close together, it's very easy for to apply steady pressure where it just goes straight. They want to kind of turn into each other. That's one of the reasons why I put so much downward pressure by inserting that tension wrench, is to kind of force these two to go straight relative to each other. Okay, 4 only binds on one side, on the left. This is the first wafer that I set, and I think it stayed set the whole time. Hold on, the spring's being a little tricky. I think it stayed set the whole time, but I was constantly rechecking it. It's a steel wafer like 11, and there's not much to it otherwise. Just a I grabbed it actually tracing this piece and pushing that way. Nothing really on the back. Okay, we've got wafer 3 is in 2 pieces. Pretty easy to grab and manipulate this one here. Nothing on the back. Here's the right side of 3. Okay. Nothing on the back. This was pretty tricky because it goes pretty deep, and so this is that tab that I would start grabbing here. I have to rotate around and try to get leverage to move through. It's a tricky one. Okay, 2, also in 2 pieces. Here's the right side. Okay, and I pretty much, again, this went pretty deep. I grabbed this and kept on pushing. Here's the left side. Spring fell out. Hold on. Definitely want to keep these springs straight. The only piece of the lock I'm worried about losing or damaging. Okay, so that's 2. You can probably guess, but just grabbing it right there. And the back. All right, and last but not least, we got wafer 1 back there. Another 2-parter. And there's the left side. As you can guess, grabbed it right there. And the right. This one just was able to scoop all the way in the back here to set. Okay. All right, so what's left? Well, we're going to have to talk about this in a moment. But anyway, this comes out. There's a little metal plate here. And then you're just left with the housing. Single piece. That's it. Okay. So, the last piece is this adapter that I glued on. And I'll explain what's going on here, but this is probably the hardest part of this video, is I'm going to try to get this off on camera. So let me get some tools. And my goal is to crack the epoxy from here to here so that I can twist it off the post, of course, without snapping the post here at the end. Don't want to damage the lock in any way. So I'm just going to try to turn it. Unfortunately, it broke in the wrong place. So I'm going to go down here and apply some pressure and try to twist it. And it tore off. Okay, this is going to get ugly, folks. So that's my adapter. Might as well explain that first, which is a steel tube connected to a polycarbonate tube. I needed steel because the tremendous tension would otherwise destroy the polycarbonate. And I needed polycarbonate because if it were steel all the way down, I would not be able to get this off. But because this is just polycarbonate and glue on the original steel, it's really just a matter of time and patience being able to take it off. It sounded pretty promising, but I'm just going to grab a more serious set of pliers here. Because I ideally want this coming off in one piece. To minimize the mess. Okay, there we go. So now we got a little bit of epoxy residue. It's not terrible because, you know, this is such a smooth post here, but it's definitely going to prevent the key from working. Yeah. So let me try just a little bit of sandpaper. See if we can't get to clean this up a little. Much better. Still, I think too much on there. Yeah. I have a sharp knife blade here that I think Might help shave some of this off. Yep. Still think we got a ways to go. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to force it on there. You know, I'll be right back. I think I'm going to try a thicker razor blade. Blade on that knife was a little too fine to get things off. Nice, that's going all the way through. Much better. Well, I must say, I went through a lot of iterations to find the best adapter for this. And for a while, I was using a clear epoxy. And what was nice about that is that it came off so cleanly. Like one piece didn't need to do any of this. But it kept on coming off. And not embarrassingly so, not like in a single picking session, but, you know, every few days it would come off. And so I traded up to the original formula, the JB Weld epoxy. That's like the strongest stuff. And that, to be honest, it never came off. This is the first time. I had it come off. And so it's obviously not as clean as the clear. Man, what a mess, huh? All right, let's see how we're doing. Need a new piece of sandpaper. Nice. There's just a little bit at the end. Let me just try to get that off while I'm here. Just hard to get that last bit at the end there. All right, let's try that. Use this piece. I mean, my eye isn't showing anything left. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm fooling myself. I think the key is really only designed to go that far. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all the way at the end. I just don't want to spend all the time to put this thing back together and find the key. It doesn't work properly. But, I mean, it seems good to me. All right. That's enough of that. Let's put the lock back together. So I find it easiest to put it in the housing. And we'll put the plate down. And there's a trick to just kind of angling the springs in. Again, last thing you want to do is lose the springs here. So we'll start wafer 1. Come on. Something's not right. There we go. There we go. Once you get the first one in, it's easy because that sets it up. Oh. Lost the spring. Okay, number 3. Okay, 4 only goes in on one side. Five. 6. 6 is hard because it's so tight in here. Oh, that wasn't too bad actually though. 7 just drops in. 8. 9. 10. 11. All right, to get 12 in, you gotta kind of push these in on the side, gently let it go into place. And there we snapped into place. All right. Let's see, next up, this goes here. These go here. This goes here. Screws. Put that screwdriver over here. Okay, and where'd the key go? There you go. That is the Kromer Protector BP55K.